This is my RC Ultralight plane model. It started about 3 days ago. Now, this isn't based off a specific model, it's just a design I sketched out. But currently in Colorado, it is that time of year where it's beginning to snow a lot. During the time of recording this, the snow is kind of melting, but it still means very wet conditions. Now, if you've seen my recent updates, I was working on my RC Gyrocopter project. I started this project back in September. Yeah, here we go. And since it's been taking so long, about 2 months, right as I finished this design, which I was hoping it was my final design, I wasn't actually able to test it since it just started to snow. And with the way I built this, I can't really test this in the snow currently because, it's like balsa wood blades and all the electronics are exposed outside. So if I were to get this crashing in some snow, it would pretty much be over for that design. So I couldn't really do anything. And as for the time I was waiting, I decided to just try to make an RC plane. While brainstorming what my plane was going to look like, I didn't really have any sort of plan or idea, but I came across Peter Schupel's plane building series. And if you don't know who he is, he builds a lot of cool and wacky flying things and other engineering projects. And something he did as a series was build these homemade ultralight aircraft he could actually fly. And while doing some research about ultralight models, I was actually really liking how these looked, so I decided to design my own model. Now, I'm not actually going to end up making a real aircraft like Peter did because I'm still in middle school after all, but I do want to make some RC models based off of those. The first thing I did was go online and search up some planes I could base off my RC model off of. Found this one, which I really liked because it was very simple, very simplistic, just like the tail, wings, and then just rods to connect it. So I decided just to use this one as my replica. Now for this build, all I really had to work as for just the plane itself is foam board and some wood. If I did have metal, I would use it, but unfortunately that's all I have for now. So I wanted to make this quite simple. I wanted to avoid using a lot of glue because I wanted to make so I can disassemble some of the parts in case I need to fix anything. So for this tail, I drilled a hole through it and inserted a wooden stick, so this way I can connect it to the shaft of the whole wing, I guess. So I don't really have any measurements going on right now or any stencils really, but I think that's pretty good actually. So while building this tail, I accidentally made a tail-a-von sort of configuration. This makes it so the tail controls pitch and roll. That can work, but just with the way I'm going to build this, the wings are going to be quite big. So I would rather have a 4-channel configuration so then you can control the roll independently. So I just ripped that off and just remade it. Now moving on to the motor mount, I have to make sure this is really strong. If it's really weak, it's just gonna, wiggle around and that's gonna self-destruct the airplane. So the motor I took this from, it was from my old Su-27 or something RC plane I had from a long time ago, when I was 5. And the motor here, I still had it. It had these cross section, so it came with metal cross section. It already came with something you could just put onto some foam. So I decided to use that because I was originally just going to use foam here. Probably should have used wood. I think that would have been a lot better, but I don't know. I just thought it would work better with foam because it would fit better with the mount it already had. So I kind of just basically fit it with the cross section, just glued it onto the center, and I think that actually worked quite well. Moving on to the wings, for some reason I didn't choose to watch some videos on how other people made some RC plane wings. So I kind of just did what I thought was right. So I cut out some foam strips and put them on top of each other. This would be kind of the top, the structure for the airfoil, so I could put the foam around it. So a mistake I did is that I ended up taking the trailing edge of the wing and then connected it with the bottom trailing edge. So this makes it so that the end of the trailing edge is kind of just immediately flat. Now this wing design would have worked if I didn't mess up the ailerons. I made them way too small compared to the actual wing size. So I could have maybe just cut them off and then added some new foam inside and then attached them with some hinges or something. But I wanted to keep this relatively simple. Because the whole point of this project is mainly just build some experience with building an RC plane and actually getting it to fly. Because I do want to plan on making some other RC projects in the future. So I kind of just decided to just scrap that and just remake some new ones that are definitely way lighter and also simpler. Now these new wings weren't that much different from the old ones. The main difference I did is just that the bottom surface of the wings are much smaller than the top. This does make it so it's a lot lighter, and also it gives me a lot more room so I can make those flaps or ailerons. Probably just going to be ailerons here. But you can see this commonly used a lot with flight test models. You can see they use that a lot for their simplicity. So that's why I'm going to do it with this one. I could, with the old ones, maybe like add some hinges so then the ailerons could work better, but plus I don't want to, I'm too lazy to do that right now. Another thing I decided to switch up to keep like the centerpiece where the wings and the body meet to make it a little more structurally intact is to make the wings and the structure in the middle separate, so the wings can slide off from the wood struts, but the wood struts are glued onto the body. Let me know if you guys think that is good, or I can get some advice from you guys if I should maybe make this one big wing and then somehow attach it, or do some other way. To be honest, I just want some advice from you guys on what should be doing better, because to be honest, I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Alright, so I just finished making this wing. There are a few things. So the dihedral here compared to this wing is a lot greater now. Let me guys know if you think it's too much. I don't think it might be a bit much of an angle. That's a better perspective. Might be a little too much, but I can always adjust. I can always just remake this part. Now, for the people who don't understand what dihedral means, the dihedral of an aircraft is the angle between an aircraft's supporting surface, such as a wing, and a horizontal transversal line. Now, the whole point of this angle is to help it be a little more stable to rolling left and right. And if you guys want some more in-depth information on how dihedral works, I'll link a video to RC Tesla's video. He does a really good job of explaining what dihedral does, and also a lot of other aerodynamic properties. But the main reason why I'm mentioning this is that if the dihedral is too great, the amount of lift generated by these wings are going to be reduced a lot. So that's the thing. I have to make it in a sweet spot so it's going to be stable enough to remain, in stable flight, but also be, flat enough to be able to generate a sufficient amount of lift. And the big reason why you see much bigger dihedral in ultralight aircraft, which are essentially just aircraft that are much lighter than others, is that when you have a lot less mass in an aircraft, it's going to have a lot less inertia, which means it's going to be tossed around in the air a lot. I'm also most likely going to go back to this and also adjust the dihedral angle. I don't think it needs to be this great, even though it is going to be super light with mainly just the wings and the tail. It's still a bit too much. I still want this to produce enough lift to fly pretty slow, so I think I'm going to reduce the angle a little bit. So this is pretty much it for this part. I'm not expecting this series to be too long. I think after this, just adding the electronics and then chuck it and just see if it flies. Of course, that's if it actually flies. But you can see I put this away for now because I've been recently working on this. It's my gyrocopter. I've been working on this project for I don't even know how long. It's been a while, but I'm really hoping that I can finish this up soon and get the video out. I don't even know how long it's going to take to edit the video, probably 10 years. That's pretty much it for at least this plane. Let me know if I could do anything better. Of course, this is going to be this is just mentioning this is my first time building a RC plane from scratch. I don't know why I made it so big. I just thought it'd be fun to do, so yeah.